Math 2, Unit 3, Quadratic Functions. The essence of mathematics is not to make simple things complicated, but to make complicated things simple. The big ideas for this unit include ideas about quadratic functions. This unit builds on what you learned about quadratics in Math 1. In this unit, you will identify quadratic functions by looking at the structure of the equations and the first and second differences in the table. You'll learn strategies for creating recursive and explicit equations to represent given diagrams and represent quadratic functions with tables, graphs, diagrams, and equations. Your work in this unit will also include adding, subtracting, and multiplying polynomial expressions. In the first 3 lessons, you will be given a diagram that represents a quadratic pattern. You will create tables, graphs, and equations to represent relationships and to gain further information about each problem. With your work in these tasks, you will be able to identify characteristics that are unique to quadratic functions. You will notice that in a quadratic table, the first difference is linear and the second difference is constant. In quadratic explicit equations written in standard form, the largest exponent is 2, and quadratic explicit equations can also be written as the product of 2 linear factors. Your work in these tasks will help you make connections between the diagram of a quadratic function and their equations by connecting area models to the quadratic equations they represent. In lessons 4 and 5, you will continue to create multiple representations of functions, but you will also practice finding and interpreting key features of the functions. Key features include domain and range, intercepts, intervals where the function is increasing, decreasing, positive, or negative, rate of change, maximums and minimums, symmetries, and end behavior. In the last 2 lessons, you will practice adding, subtracting, and multiplying polynomials. You will discover that polynomials behave the same way that integers behave when you add, subtract, or multiply them. Here's a list of key vocabulary terms for this unit. Some of these vocabulary terms should already be familiar to you from previous courses. Here are some key skills needed to be successful with the content in this unit. You should be able to write equations in function notation, create a table and graph of a function when given an equation, and interpret key features from a function from graphs, equations, and descriptions. In addition to your teacher and school-based resources, there are several additional resources available. The Ready, Set, Go homework help videos are housed in the Canvas site for your class. You can access these in Canvas using your student login. If you do not know how to log into Canvas, ask your teacher for help. The K-12 Math Resource website, which can be found on your school's website, includes additional support items such as unit and lesson overviews, videos overviewing the tasks, essential vocabulary, the North Carolina standards for each unit, learning targets for each lesson, and extra practice problems.